The Witcher was an ambitious project from a relatively unknown developer. CD Projekt went on to create a deep and engrossing RPG that took many chances. It failed only in one specific area, and that's the technical department. It was ripe with bugs and long load times, but CD Projekt rectified most of this with the release of the Enhanced Edition. Even with all of these problems, The Witcher was well received in the gaming community. Now, the long-awaited sequel finally slashes its way to freedom, but can it avoid the problems of its predecessor? The Witcher 2 introduces us to a rich story with multiple pathways. There are many things Geralt can do to handle a situation, and there are even some that affect the way the story continues. The storyline starts off really simple, but Geralt will quickly find himself engulfed in some hairy situations. What makes the story in The Witcher 2 so appealing is that the writing holds nothing back. It shows us a cold and hedonistic world that many games are afraid of showing. No child's ears and eyes will be safe near it, and that's a good thing for us adults. The Witcher 2 offers a wide assortment of things to do. Secondary quests will gladly take hours of time away from the main storyline. There are a few consistent ones in the form of arm wrestling and hunting. Alongside those, however, are various quests from exercising haunted mansions, searching for long lost treasures, and even playing mediator during a murder investigation. These side quests are usually interesting and not just some boring throwaway fetch quest. Geralt will even have to gain knowledge of his prey via books or through combat, so that he can properly understand how to deal with the task he's been given. He'll discover that he has to blow up tunnels with specially made bombs or set traps for beasts to take back to their nests. Geralt can even find schematics for weapons, armor, and alchemy, which taps into the vast skill tree that opens during his journey. The Witcher 2 spreads that nostalgic feeling of an old-time RPG, before games limited you from taking everything you can pilfer in someone's house. Geralt is rarely restricted in where he can explore, and each location offers some new forest or dungeon. It's hard to say that players would grow bored of a location. The level design variety is at its peak in The Witcher 2. Players can spend hours engrossed in quest after quest. The world that Geralt sees in his travels is astounding. The detail that exists in each location can be utterly mesmerizing. Each zone is full of lush vegetation with beams of light rolling over our hero. The civilians will tend to their everyday lives and scatter when the sky feels that it needs to cry. Even monsters who share the same habitat won't just attack Geralt. They'll fight amongst themselves and then attempt to kill him afterwards. It could possibly be the most beautiful role-playing game out there, and it will not fail to impress. Combat is not as action-packed as it looks. I don't actually hate this, but it's worth noting as something that can be misleading to action junkies. In reality, underneath the exaggerated spins and flips of Geralt's movements, there's a sneaky little system rolling the dice. Players won't notice it until Geralt misses a monster that's directly in his face. People who are expecting a pure hack and slash title will be a bit disappointed. As wonderful as everything looks in The Witcher 2, the controls and a large amount of the animations feel dated. Excluding the acrobatic moves of Geralt's swordsmanship, the simpler movements can mess with the flow of the game. Geralt is automated through a variety of normal abilities. To climb a ladder, players will have to trigger it with a button. If you push the button on accident, you have to watch the entire animation finish. Geralt also does not have the option to jump, so he can easily get stuck behind certain smaller objects. He is also unable to leave a room or climb up onto a ledge while in combat, so he has to fight or run far enough away from an encounter to move on. There is also an 8-second delay before Geralt can finally loot a bad guy he's killed. Finally, the most annoying problem out of everything would be the doors. Walking through a door is never simple for Geralt. He actually has to pause to open the door and walk through it. You know what that means, right? That every single person in the game has to do the same thing, except that each of them will slam the door as they go in, making something as simple as walking into a room a pain in the ass. You'll only end up exasperated during escort missions or horrified when in a dungeon with lots of doors. I also detest the way that Geralt pulls out his weapons. Even in the most dangerous situations, Geralt will casually reach for his weapon. If you choose the wrong sword for the battle, there is a 5-second delay in actually switching between them, so you have to spam on the button and wait for him to put up his previous weapon. Speaking of Geralt's delayed reactions, there are a few moments he'll just stand around unable to react. This occurs after he's been knocked down or right after completing a finishing move. I also noticed that there will be times he cannot sheath his weapon without swinging it at least once. Voiceover work is good and bad at the same time. A good assortment of the characters come off as highly believable. I'll use the dwarves as an example of great voice acting. They share the same inflections, and you can tell that most of their race is brash and uncouth.
Another chance like this won't come around in a hurry. Fucking can wait.
Now, when speaking with some of the major characters like Dandelion for instance, the voice work lacks emotional context, and a lot of his dialogue feels forced.
Let us go together, become our brother. The choice is yours, you know there's no other.
In general, the main characters sound less impressive than the random NPCs that Geralt will have to converse with. The Witcher 2 suffers from small technical issues that are a bit hard to ignore. Otherwise, you have a fantastic role-playing game in front of you. The world is extremely vibrant and violent at the same time. It would be hard to not give The Witcher 2 its due as a fantastic RPG. The Witcher 2 receives a B+ from Half-Assed Gaming. CD Projekt has created a highly detailed and accessible RPG, and even skimped out on the troublesome DRM. I can clearly say that I can't wait to get my hands on The Witcher 3.